What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We are less than 30 days away from the NBA season, and so I am going through the 30 NBA teams and we are breaking them down. We're checking out what to look for, what to expect, predictions, all that good stuff. We're going over the Cleveland Cavaliers because there is a lot to talk about with this team, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. Let's start with some roster changes. Cleveland got rid of Isaac Okoro and they brought in Lonzo Ball. I also think they lost Ty Jerome. I really like this pickup. I know Lonzo Ball isn't the same guy that he's been in the past with the Lakers and all of the injuries and all that stuff, but give him 15-20 minutes off the bench. I really think this is a good move for them. I think it gives them a good defensive punch. I think this gives them a good facilitator off the bench. I do think Cleveland has a little bit of a scoring issue because other than Donavon Mitchell, like, Garland is mad inconsistent. So I don't know if that necessarily helps in that department. I do think that they need to bring in another guy who can give them a bit of a scoring punch off the bench. But regardless, I really like the Lonzo Ball pickup, and Darius Garland is missing the beginning of the season. So he's kind of just going to step in as that starting point guard for however long Garland is out. And then he'll play like a great backup role. I really think he's going to be one of the better backup PGs in the league. But let's talk about the team and what we should be looking for, because they need to stop disappointing, like, straight up. Something needs to happen in the playoffs for them this year. This is now a couple years in a row where we have gone into the playoffs with this team and they just don't look ready, or they don't look, fit for the environment. Like, I don't know what it is, but it just seems like the Cavs, when they're in the playoffs, do not look like their regular season team. They just don't look like they can, like, hold up. Like this past season, I know there were a couple injuries involved, but it really didn't feel like they were competing with Indiana at all, except for one, like, hot Donavon Mitchell game. Yeah, I really think that this team has been disappointing for a couple of years now, and I think this is the season where they kind of have to do something about that. Like, I think that something needs to happen in the playoffs, especially in this depleted Eastern Conference that is right now, with the Celtics and the Bucks and the Sixers even. Something needs to change this year, or else there's a lot of question marks that are going to be thrown into the air. One of those question marks to me would be Darius Garland. I think that we would have to start questioning if he is like a franchise type of point guard. I think he is. I think he's great. He's been an all-star in the past. I think injuries kind of like hinder him a little bit, and I know he has some inconsistencies and stuff like that. I think Darius Garland is really good. I mean, you can make a case that he's a top 10 point guard in the league, whatever, and I would agree with that. Like, I think that Garland is, I think he's solid, man. He's a great shooter. I think he can add great scoring when he's on his A game. But if the Cavaliers can't do something this year in the playoffs, like, I think we have to look at Garland and be like, why is this guy not playing like the second or third best option on this team? He used to be, in my opinion, the second best. I think he's now the third best option, but he needs to lock in with the other two dudes, which, moving on, Evan Mobley, I need to see more from Evan Mobley this year. His offensive game needs to continue to rise. He hits threes occasionally. I don't even think it's about stretching the floor, though. This guy just needs to be way more assertive on offense, and he needs to be, like, demanding of the ball and looking for his own shot. This dude could average like 20 and 10 easy with 2 blocks maybe and like 4 assists. Like, this Evan Mobley is mad talented. Evan Mobley is talented. I think this is going to be his team in a year or two. But I'm telling you, like, we're going to see an all defensive Evan Mobley this year. In order for this team to succeed, though, he needs to play like a second or third best scoring option. Like, if he's assertive on the offensive end and he's looking to score and he's looking for his own, he could be so dominant. And I think that that's what Evan Mobley needs to do this year. And I think that that's something we need to look out for. Obviously, when a team underperforms, the dude that you are looking at and everyone's pointing fingers at is the best player. I think a lot is riding on Donavon Mitchell this season, and here's why. If Cleveland manages to be a number 1 seed, which I think they will be again, and they get bounced in the first or the second round, we are now going to look at Donavon Mitchell as this guy did it with the Utah Jazz. He's now doing it with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's a regular season guy who can put up, before y'all start raging at me in the comments, he can definitely put up numbers in the playoffs. He's a great playoff performer. We've seen this guy put up 50 bombs. We've seen this guy put up 40 bombs, multiple 30 bombs. It's not about him being a performer in the playoffs. I think it's more about leading his team to wins. We can't, the Cleveland Cavaliers are not a bad team. The Cleveland Cavaliers are better than that Utah Jazz team that Donavon Mitchell had. Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, to me, are better duo for him than Conley and Rudy Gobert. I honestly think that the fingers get pointed at Donavon Mitchell if this is another floppy season or they get bounced in the first round or the second round. And again, it has nothing to do with him as a scorer or as an offensive player, but everything to do with him as the number one option or the leader on the team. Because I think we do start asking that question, well, can this guy be the number one option on a championship team? And I think that's a valid question to ask because, again, we've seen it with Utah Jazz. He brings this team to a 1 seed or helps bring this team to a 1 seed and just can't do anything about it in the playoffs. I'm not saying it's all him, but I think that you always have to look at the top dog, the best player, and be like, well, why aren't you helping take us to the promised land? And yeah, we'd start questioning if, he can be that number one guy on a championship team. Look at guys like Anthony Edwards, for example, who we used to say Donavon Mitchell might have been the best shooting guard in the league, or he was in conversation with Devin Booker, and then Anthony Edwards went on a rise. And now we're seeing Anthony Edwards 2 years in a row leading his team to the conference finals. Why can't Mitchell do that? Why couldn't Mitchell do that last year? I think the Cavaliers have a better roster than the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think Donavon Mitchell has better pieces around him than the Minnesota Timberwolves. But for some reason, Anthony Edwards is able to will his team to win more so than Donavon Mitchell. I do not think there's any reason why this team shouldn't be able to go to the conference finals. When we look at the Eastern Conference, I think it's them and New York. They should be the two teams in the conference finals. Detroit should not be surpassing them. Philly, barring injury, I could see it. Atlanta shouldn't be surpassing them. Yes, there are other good teams in the Eastern Conference. The Bucks should not be surpassing them. The Cleveland Cavaliers are a deeper, better, fully rounded roster, and something needs to happen this year, or else you got to start thinking about making changes. In terms of my prediction for the team, I've already said it before. I think they will finish as the 1 seed in the East. I honestly think New York is the better team right now. I like some of the changes that they made in terms of their coaching and their bench. Even though I felt like it was weird that Tom Thibodeau got fired, I do think that in terms of how the minutes played out for some of these guys on the team, the coach change will be better, but we'll talk about New York when we get to the New York Knicks. I think Cleveland will finish as the 1 seed, and then only time will tell how they perform in the playoffs. But I think this will be a good season for them once again. But I do really have a lot of question marks surrounding this team. They're a really weird one to me where I'm I just don't know. I just don't know. They're a good team, and I just don't know. But I do think they'll finish as the 1 seed. What do you guys think about the Cavs? Let me know in the comments any thoughts or what you want to look out for, or any opinions or anything you disagree with me on, or anything that you agree with me on. I'd love to hear it. Leave a like on the video and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Obviously, we got lots more NBA team previews coming up. So we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.